Why are they doing this? Well, because, you know, they got nothing else going on.
And with the political confusion on Capitol Hill, all of it tied to immigration, after weeks of threatening to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas for allegedly ignoring the border crisis, GOP lawmakers did not have the votes to make an impeachment stick. And at the very same time, some of those same Republicans, apparently spooked by a warning from Donald Trump, worked to kill a bipartisan Senate bill that might have addressed the very same immigration problems Mayorkas is accused of ignoring. Nicole Killian is on Capitol Hill for us, following it all. People want to know what is going on there. Nicole, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Tony. House Republicans haven't ruled out holding another impeachment vote against Secretary Mayorkas, which would mostly be symbolic, even though last night's vote failed. In fact, the margin was so close that two members who were recovering from serious medical issues had to come back.
In a nail-biting vote,
the resolution is not adopted.
An attempt to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was rejected Tuesday on the House floor.
I would say it's a clown show, but that would be a disservice to actual working clowns.
One of the deciding votes was Texas Democrat Al Green, who surprised colleagues when he showed up unexpectedly from the hospital after a recent surgery. He spoke briefly with CBS News from his hospital bed following the vote.
Nobody on the Hill pressured me. I went there to help a good man keep his reputation. What they did was wrong.
Dude, it's such a funny thing. This dude literally got wheeled out of the hospital to cook the Republican Party, okay? Which he did. Which, I mean, it's like, it's a sham anyway.
Republicans broke ranks, joining the Democrats, including California's Tom McClintock.
You're not concerned about any political consequences from your decision?
When you're an outlier on a subject, you better be damn sure you're right.
The defeat marks a stunning blow for House Republicans, who filed 2 articles that allege Mayorkas willfully refused to comply with the law and breached public trust. A DHS spokesperson called it baseless.
What the hell just happened?
In the Senate, negotiators of a bipartisan border compromise tried to resuscitate it after Senate Republicans torpedoed the package.
The idea that we committed to supporting whatever came out of this.
Yeah, one of the funniest parts about this was also Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out. She had some choice words on this. Wait, does anyone have the link? Does anyone have the clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about the vote process and how, like, let's see if I can find it real quick, because this is fucking awesome. Okay. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. Wait, nope. Is this it? Reminder that Republicans, particularly Abbott, are the lawless ones refusing to follow the Supreme Court's ruling. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. This C-SPAN clip has like 7 minutes of it. I want like the actual juice though.
Look at this as a game, unfortunately, and their strategy. And they hid one of their members.
Oh my God, I'm so good. I'm so goated. 7-minute video, instantly fucking clicked on the actual timestamp. That's insane. How did I do that? How does he do it, folks? How does he do it? Sorry, let's continue.
Waiting to the last minute, watching to see our votes, trying to throw us off on the numbers that we had versus the numbers they had. So,
Hasan, did you want juice or Jews? What do you think? The juice, and the sauce. Anyway, it's so funny that she hit the they were hiding votes.
Waiting to the last minute, watching to see our votes, trying to throw us off on the numbers that we had versus the numbers they had. So, yeah, that was a strategy at play tonight.
So do you essentially see this as an attendance issue, and you're confident that when Scalise is healthy to come back to the Capitol, you'll bring this back and you will be able to impeach Mayorkas?
It's basically 2 issues. It's several of our members need to think about things over the weekend. And then secondly, we look forward to having Steve Scalise back.
And do you think that there's a chance that you can flip some of those GOP no votes? I mean, they went on a limb tanking this thing today. You think that they're going to change it?
I would really love to see them go home and talk to their voters, the people that hired them to come here. I know that several of them have very strong Republican districts. And I also look forward to seeing
Yeah, when she says they're hiding votes, she's talking about the dude we just showed who came back from the hospital specifically to vote no on this. From I think like he has cancer treatment or something. He literally fucking left the hospital specifically to come in and pull a last second no vote on this and just dump the impeachment process entirely.
This negotiation is pure, unadulterated bullshit.
And declared it dead.
If we have,
I hate this argument from mainstream media, liberals, and like obviously the liberal organs of information that the Republicans don't care about the border. It's like, yes, dude, we know they don't, but also they don't care about it because it's not a real problem. Okay? The notion that there's a real issue at the border should have never been adopted by the Democratic Party. That is not a position that the Democratic Party can ever win arguments on regardless, and it now looks extra stupid.
no real chance here to make a law.
At the White House, President Biden made a last-ditch appeal, and
I've already yelled about this for like the past week, and especially so yesterday and the day before.
pinned the blame on.
But I think this is the dumbest. This is the dumbest thing that the Democratic Party can do. Okay. And it is very obviously a classic move that Macron did. It's a classic move that people are doing. It is a classic move that European center left and center right parties have done as well in order to maintain their power, in order to maintain their influence. Here's a tweet I made about it. Biden's task between now and November will be to convince an angry electorate that he's more serious about fixing the border than Trump is. Turns out, though, copying the far right doesn't help mainstream parties, but it can boost the far right. Oh my God. Shocked to find out. Surprise Pikachu. Fascism is on the rise. Okay. U.S. Dems, along with center right and center left neoliberal parties in Europe, are leaning into reactionary politics with the hopes of staying in power. All this does is normalize right-wing positions built on lies that they spent years supposedly combating. It's a massive failure and grown the right. And they've been doing this, and they've gotten worse at doing this. Okay? If you just adopt the furthest right position on everything, okay, then why should anybody vote for you? You have now openly admitted that there is a problem where no such problem existed. And if there is a problem, I'm going to go vote for the guys who are the solution, the final solution, as a matter of fact. That's what the Democrats are doing. Okay? That is precisely what the Democrats are doing. They're like, no, you don't understand. Like, liberals are basically looking at Nazi Germany and being like, no, we hate the Jews more, okay? We are the ones who are going to put the Jews in the Constitution comes first, okay? Vote for us. Not the Nazi party. We'll do it, okay? We'll do it ourselves, but vote for us because that's like, that'll be, it'll be better. We'll do it, but we'll do like 50% less Jews in concentration camps than the Nazis. So, vote for us instead. It's so bad. This time, I'm not talking about juice like the drinkable. I'm talking about Jewish people, okay? A lot of independents and centrists now at least see how much Republicans don't actually care about the number one issue they scream about. I don't agree with the border bill at all, but this worked in the favor of the Dems, in my opinion. No, my friend, that is 100,000% copium. Here is why, okay? Even if you look at this from a purely apolitical process, all you have done, one, is fundamentally change the Democratic Party's outlook and strategy with a singular person, Joe Brandon. I don't think the rest of the Democratic Party is like this on board with a reactionary border bill. They're just kind of biding their time right now, no pun intended, okay? But this is an executive decision, okay? This is their strategy, which is a failure in general, in my opinion, for the 2024 election cycle. So, let me tell you something. Here's why this is a massive failure, because to the independents, to the centrists, you now have openly admitted that there's a massive crisis at the border. That is a fundamentally right-wing position because there is no massive crisis at the border. It is perfect. It's made up. It's concocted. That's why you only hear about it every fucking 2 years around a midterm or around a general election. It's not a real issue. Okay? So now the Democratic Party has basically said, you know what? We do believe this right-wing framing. They did this with crime as well. They did this with policing as well. Okay? Where they took on the right-wing position and recognized that there's a massive crisis, but the Republicans don't care about solving that crisis. Well, guess what, dude? It doesn't matter, because to the Republican base, they don't give a shit. They are not going to be like, oh yeah, that's right. The Republican Party or Trump is not going to solve the border. Pff, whatever. Shut up, pussy libtard. And to the centrists and the independents, they now believe that there's a crisis at the border. Do you think that the Democratic Party, which now just showed through a failure in leadership, was simply unable to pass a border bill? Okay? They were simply unable to pass it, even though it was a pure, complete right-wing border bill. Do you believe the independents and the centrists, who now believe, because they listen to the Democratic Party, they listen to liberal mainstream media, that there is a crisis at the border, do you think enough of them are going to go, no, the Democrats are the party that will solve the crisis? Or do you think enough of them will actually go, well, I know Trump will solve the crisis. It felt like Trump had solved the crisis at the border when he was president. That's it. It's just, centrists and independents, the supposed moderates, will look at the situation and go, well, this only reaffirms my position that I already held. Biden is so incompetent that he is seeing that there's a crisis at the border, which I also see in mainstream media nonstop. Okay? There's an asylum crisis at the border, but the libs want to pretend that's not happening either. No, the real asylum crisis at the border is because we are not adequately funding processing, and we're focusing on detention and criminalizing asylum. But that's the real crisis. The crisis, the humanitarian crisis at the border, is that we're trying to kill asylum seekers. Okay? We're trying to detain asylum seekers. That's the real crisis. Instead of working on creating a shit ton of new jobs for building houses, building more roads, teaching, new teaching jobs, educational opportunities, language opportunities, interpreters, and processors, lawyers, paralegals, and more courts. Instead of seeing this as a problem to solve with a peaceful through peaceful means that allow these asylum seekers to immediately get integrated into our workforce and get the proper documentation, we are creating a crisis. Okay? Now, look how easy it is to solve this communication problem. Okay? It's super easy to solve this, at least on the messaging front, because if Democrats were to say this and also openly admit that this is a violation, a direct violation of international law, because asylum seeking is protected under international humanitarian agreements. Okay? If the Democrats turned around and said, hey, by the way, we care about this from the perspective of morality, and we care about this from the framework of like international law. Okay? I think it's ridiculous that we're not helping these people. I think it's ridiculous that we're not even like working on integration. Okay? Which would create a shit ton of job opportunities. Instead of working on that messaging front and pushing for better positions, saying like the real issue is that when we make this border crossing illegal, okay, when we criminalize border crossings, we actually create a multi-billion-dollar cartel operation for coyotes, which is actually dangerous. When we understand immigration as a national security phenomena instead of like an issue that could very easily be beneficial to the United States of America, okay, if we were to look at it from a humanitarian perspective, when we don't do those things, okay, we are creating a crisis. Don't accept the racist framing and say that there is really a crisis and we have to stop these fucking people from coming in. The only difference between you and Donald Trump in that circumstance is that Donald Trump says immigrants are poisoning the blood. Donald Trump says Hitlerian immigrants are poisoning the blood of Americans. You say, well, that's racist, but also I agree with it. Tucker Carlson says great replacement is happening. You say, well, great replacement is happening, and we need to stop it, but without, I guess, adopting a more openly racist position on it. It's just, at that point, if you don't counter communicate against it and you adopt the right-wing framing, you've lost the plot. You now openly admit that there's a massive crisis at the fucking border that needs to be solved, and the Republicans don't want to solve it. Okay. Well, independents and centrists and moderates are going to look at that and go, okay, well, there's a crisis at the border, and you have just demonstrated that you are completely incompetent at whipping votes. That's it. If there's one thing that unites American voters, it is gridlock. They hate it, okay? They hate it. I've talked about this so many times. This is one of the immediate things I realized when I was reading up, and also even from Turkey, following the ACA stuff, okay? Obamacare. One of the major issues for the Democratic Party, which had a supermajority, by the way, at the time, something that we haven't seen since, was that the Obama administration turned around and tried to concede with the Republicans. They tried to literally have like back and forth talks with the Republicans to get some Republican voters on board. Okay? That greatly prolonged the process. Every single person in the United States of America only cares, by the way, which they got 0 fucking Republican votes. Okay? All it did was like take out certain parts of the fucking bill, neuter it, dilute it. And not a single Republican voted for it anyway. And the worst part of it is that it held up the process. It made it longer. It made it longer and longer to fucking actually push through. Yeah, you had the Joe Lieberman stuff. You had the spoiler, whatever. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of this right now. Okay, I've talked about it a million times over, because the major point I'm trying to make is that Americans hated the fucking bill for that reason. Because in that long time frame, Republicans had a shit ton of opportunities to just lie about what's in the bill. Death panels, they said. Right? They said that there's death panels. That they said that this is going to fucking kill all the old people. Like, the longer something takes, the longer the bill making and the bill, the longer the legislative process takes, the more Americans start hating it. Okay? They hate bureaucracy. This is truly an idiotic thing to do. They hate gridlock. The reason why I'm explaining this is because Americans hate gridlock. And they believe that the party in charge is at fault for the gridlock. They do not look at like the Republican Party being obstructionist. They only look at Joe Biden failing. So in this situation, they look at this and they go, I already think Joe Biden is old. I already think he's falling asleep at the wheel. And now I'm further reinforced in this belief that Joe Biden will not recognize the top of the hour ad break, which comes at the top of every hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Joe Biden does not understand that. Okay? Don't be like Joe Biden. Subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that's me. Sleepy Joe, sleeping through the 3 minutes of ads. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Bareback Hussein Obama. Thank you for the 5 get the subs, brother. Hell yeah. You're the reason my girlfriend doesn't trust men anymore? Okay, dude. Okay, dude. What is it? This is sort of what you were talking about, by the way. Weird framing, but I guess whatever it takes to get people on board with immigration. Due largely to an unexpected surge in immigration, the U.S. economy will be about $7 trillion larger and federal revenues about $1 trillion bigger, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office said Wednesday. That impact is over 10 years, to be clear. It does not take into account any legislation that Congress may or may not approve. Wait, so are you serious that people only look at the party of the president, or was that just part of the joke? No, I am serious. When Biden comes out and says, we want to fix the border crisis, he's adopting right-wing framing on the issue and normalizing the position that there is a major crisis and that immigration should be treated as a national security concern. And then he's also showing to the rest of the country that he is not the guy who can solve it, because now it's held up. Now it's gotten nuked. Dumbass liberals on Twitter think, oh, well, we got a gotcha on the Republican Party, thinking that that matters to the average American. It doesn't matter to the average American. To the average American, they're like, Joe Biden is old, he's incompetent, and look at him. Now I've been confirmed in my position, in my prior position, that Joe Biden is literally fucking old and can't get this shit done. Because look, he put a fucking deal forward and he couldn't even get it done. Hasan, I'm genuinely having a difficult time understanding why Joe Brandon wanted or proposed this at all. Can you help me? Yes, I can. Do you want to know what it is? They're bad. And I don't mean like morally bad, which, you know, they are. They're just bad at their jobs. That's literally what it is, okay? In a lot of instances, I don't think people understand. They think like, oh, well, these guys have like all these brilliant fucking, Harvard graduates working on their campaigns and shit. It's like, no, dog. They're just fucking bad. They're bad at their jobs. They're not very good. That's it. I don't even know how you can fix the situation for Biden, because even before October 7, even before this dumbass border bill, even before like Biden funding a genocide and shit, okay, people thought he was too old and he needed to look dynamic, okay? And I don't know how you can fix that, because unfortunately, the only thing that's going against him is time. And with more time, he's just going to keep getting older and older. So I don't know how you fix that with time. That's the one thing that Father Time can't fix, is aging. It's a bit late to be changing horses midstream. Yeah, that's wonderful that you're saying that, by the way. Except, we've been talking about this for months, almost a year, as a matter of fact. Polling was showing like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, where that Biden was not popular and Biden was too old and people thought that he was too old and he shouldn't run again. You know? No, you just started now. Ha ha ha. That's not true. Anyway. So that's where we're at. People said he shouldn't run again in 2021. Where people is Joe, and Joe said he's a stepping stone. Oh, yeah, that's true. Even Joe himself said he shouldn't run again. So there's that too. Ruben GKS, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Welcome to all the Ruben heads. Oh, it's Norwegian tech tone. Nice. Welcome. We are talking about American politics. Saw your tweet and maybe I'm too late, but why do you think do we have that development in the US and Europe at the same time? We have the same development in Europe and the United States at the same time because the Western world's material conditions are worsening, just like everyone else's material conditions are worsening around the world, I guess. Or I'll say it like this. Capitalism is one. Social democracies are unable to withstand the austerity and the privatization initiatives brought forward by a lot of right-wing reactionaries. Oftentimes, the center-left and center-right parties also cave and capitulate to that. That overall worsens the living conditions of the broad majority of people in these countries. And then they look at something. They look at like they need something to blame. What's easier to blame than immigration? A guy that you don't understand, a guy that's coming from a different culture, maybe a barbarian culture, comes into your country and is taking advantage of your beautiful social safety nets. Your social safety nets are not being eradicated. by those who are very deliberately trying to privatize them and make them worse overall and charge you more for it. But they're actually being eradicated by the scary immigrants that are coming in and stealing. Okay? It's a perfect issue. It's a perfect way to say that the outsider is coming in and like stealing your shit. Now, in America, we don't have a lot of social safety nets. So that's why they take it one step further. Okay? They take it one step further and they go, oh no, they're stealing our resources. What resources, you might ask? I don't know. So then they take it one step further and they're like, well, they're raping. They're here to do rapes, which I guess exists in Europe as well. There's certainly that same principle in Europe as well. But that's what's going on overall. People are desperate. People's situations and circumstances worsen. Their material conditions worsen. They don't really understand how or why. They can't understand that, like, through a slow burn, year over year, they seemingly are making less money, or they have less take-home pay, and all of the amenities and all the social safety nets that are offered to them by their government is getting worse and worse. You know, maybe the wait times are longer at the hospital, right? And that kind of stuff frustrates people. So then they turn around and they're like, I'm angry. It's volatile. And then you can always point the finger at immigration and the scary other that is the reason why, your situation seems worse and worse. Okay? So, that's it. And unfortunately, the far right takes advantage of that. The far right takes advantage of that situation perfectly. Why? Why does the far right take advantage of this situation perfectly? Well, why wouldn't they? They've laid the groundwork for them. Why wouldn't they? If I'm Marie Le Pen and Macron is like saying, no, I'm the guy who's actually Islamophobic, you don't understand, I'm going to be like, I'm going to take it extra hard. I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to be like, no, Muslims are doing rapes. We have to start arresting Muslims on sight. We have to go into mosques and start arresting them for the crime of, like, them pursuing their religions. Why wouldn't you say that? You're a fucking racist piece of shit anyway. She's literally a fucking Nazi. Why wouldn't she say that? That's why the right keeps growing and growing, okay? The right keeps growing and growing, and the far right keeps growing, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I mean, her father literally collaborated with Nazis, by the way. It's not a stretch when I say she's a Nazi. I'm not even joking. Yeah, same process as a decades-long conservative effort to erode U.S. public education by purposely defunding it and then pointing the finger at unions and teachers, etc., as the problem. Yep. So does the leader of the World Economic Forum, but the left loves the World Economic Forum. Yeah, dude, the left loves the World Economic Forum. We love the World Economic Forum, don't we, folks? Wait, I want to show you. The only thing I do love about the World Economic Forum is this, okay? This is a fucking banger. Vaccines. Is this the one? No. This isn't the one. Fuck. God damn it. Why can't I find it? I need to find it. It's such a good one. Yeah, this is it. Okay, listen. Get ready for this banger, because unironically, you're about to be converted to being World Economic Forum heads after this video that I show you. Wait, where's this is like the worst version of this song though. There's like a better one that is like more clear. Yeah, it's not like perfectly synced. Does anyone have the OG one? I fucking love this video and I love this song so much. It's like, it actually kind of goes so hard. It goes so goddamn hard that it's like, I feel like, it's this skibbity for adults? Sure. I don't know why this is weird for you. Every major politics decision is based on blaming others for problems which the government caused. That's why Republicans and the Democrats are blaming the immigrants for their own trouble and own problems. Wait, what? I didn't say it's weird. I'm describing the reasons as to why. Okay, stop sending me random shit. I'm looking for a very specific video, and people are like, here, watch this 38-minute Leisha Miller video. It's like, no, that's not. There's a time and place, and this is not it. A lot of right-wing populist parties in Europe aren't even office-seeking. They don't even want a mandate. All they care about is influencing the agenda to the right, and dumb fuck liberals do their bidding. Oh, this is it. No, this isn't it. Fuck! Why are you fucking... Why? This is not what I'm looking for. I showed you what I'm looking for. There's like a better... The Great Reset is happening in my brain, dude. Fuck! Every time I ask for something, oh my God, I'm dying. You guys broke me. You officially did. You broke me. Every time I look for like a very specific video, we are so not synced up. We are so not synced up. I fucking hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Find it yourself. I already did. I'm just looking for like a... Stop being a man child and look it up yourself. Dude, there's like fucking 20,000 people in here. It's literally... Listen. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Lee Wizwiz. Lee Wizwiz found it, okay? Congratulations, Lee Wizwiz. You are the GOAT of today. So, here's the issue. Okay, chat. When you are like purposely derailing, you're just cucking the content for yourself. You know what I mean? You go, oh, look for it yourself. Okay, bitch, I'll do it. It's gonna take me like fucking 25 minutes to try to find this goddamn thing, and it's not good content. It's the content that you're consuming. Like, it was just a shitty ass video. It was just gonna be like a fun moment, and now it's been like a fucking 15-minute derailment.
This is how Schwab, and I'm here to say you must give more of your rights away. Your sacrifice is the only remedy for the real pandemic. We must prepare an angrier world as Agenda 2030 is unfurled. You will eat the bugs, sing in the metaverse. You will comply, and it will get worse. Are you ready for the noble order? No human rights or borders.
I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know why they made Carl Schwab look so goddamn hard. This is the most pro-World Economic Forum I've ever been in my entire life. This video dropped and I became, call me Johnny Harris, the way I'm defending the World Economic Forum, okay? I am now a neoliberal capitalist defender of the international rule-based order, okay? the puppet, and I'm the puppeteer. It's so good. Oh my God. Dude, this is fire. This is an absolute banger, okay? Only 2 burgers. You will only have 2 burgers. That is right. I don't know why the way his head bobs too, it's like hypnotic. God, I love this shit so much. Oh God, I love the World Economic Forum. Yeah, it's so fucking good. Oh, it's so fucking good. Oh, I will eat the bug. Anyway. Property is an inalienable right. The freedom to invest and create jobs is the first sign of a free society. Yeah, that's right. That is what I believe now. Why do rightoids keep thinking leftists like the WEF? I genuinely don't get it, because it is liberal. It's the same issue, dude. It's the same. Listen, why do right wingers think that WEF is leftist? Because they think that's the same reason why they put fucking memes of like American projects, right? Like shitty ass roads or homeless people in the United States of America. Go, look at what socialism has done to America. And it's like, bro, America's capitalist, because they're fucking stupid. They think Jeff Bezos is a socialist, okay? There's not a single independent thought. They're just so stupid.
On former President Trump.
I want to be absolutely clear about something. The American people are going to know why it failed.
Leader Chuck Schumer plans.
Yeah, it's great. Keep posting your L's, man. Keep posting your L's, dog.
To move forward today with a test vote, but if it fails, he plans to split off those border provisions and move ahead with funding for Israel and Ukraine. The House tried to vote on a standalone Israel package last night, but that too failed. Jerika.
All right, Nicole Killian, thank you.
All right, on this.
So yeah, I mean, here is the Republican Party also falling apart. Jesus Christ, hit the nail right on the head. In the Netherlands, right wingers have been blaming the left for bad policy while we hadn't had a leftist cabinet since the 70s. Yeah, while also taking advantage of like leftist cabinets and the things that they've brought about, like all of the social safety nets that I was describing. Anyway. God, I am ready for the New World Order.
Wednesday morning, we're hearing a second vote to impeach the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas could come perhaps next week after House Republicans missed it by 2 votes last night in a dramatic fashion. You saw it here on Fox.
Here, the Mayorkas impeachment vote failed. Also, here's another failure. Going back to it's like a double stack. On the one hand, in the House, you have the Republicans failing to do, dumb, silly things like impeach Mayorkas because he's not, like, I guess, sufficiently racist enough or something. I don't really fully understand it. They think that he is causing a crisis at the border, which, by the way, Biden also recognizes and agrees to. So maybe he should. Maybe Mayorkas should get impeached. If immigration is a matter of national security now, and the Democrats are also championing that position, and they're saying that there's a crisis at the border, I guess the Department of Homeland Security is not doing a good job. Maybe we should actually impeach Mayorkas. I don't know. But beyond that, okay, there's another failure here. The bipartisan Senate deal on immigration in Ukraine and Israel aid fails to advance in the Senate. 49-50. The vote's failure caps nearly 4 months of negotiations between senators in both parties and potentially kills any effort at a broad package.
On this vote, the yeas are 49, the nays are 53.
We had to start somewhere. America wants bipartisanship. We're tired. Yeah, dude, totally. Is border security related? Dude, Immigration is not a border security problem, okay? Immigration is not a security issue. It is ridiculous. The fact that Republicans have so clearly communicated this as the only way to deal with immigration, and how much staying power that messaging has had on this front is perfectly demonstrated even in a community such as this one, where people go, yeah, there is a major crisis, though. We kind of got to deal with it. Maybe it's good that we're doing it through bipartisanship or something. It's dumb as hell. It's so stupid. You can't stop 10 million people with a damn wall. Well, it's just like it's not. The issue with immigration is a lack of interest in processing these people and giving them the proper documentation. Not that there's like a real invasion or something. Can't we celebrate that we finally are united to kill people? It's just so. It's so unimaginably stupid. It is so dumb to concede and capitulate to the right on this front, especially because this is the very same issue that the Democrats were united against Donald Trump. Donald Trump's major issue is immigration. I'm repeating myself quite a bit here, but it's like being a football player, okay, and trying to do a dunk competition with LeBron, okay? He's going to cook you. He doesn't even need to be the best dunker, but you're a football player. Play football. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't try and outcompete the Republican Party on immigration. They're always going to win. I'm telling the Democrats to shut up and dribble. Exactly. Unimaginably stupid.
3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
The funniest part is when Trump becomes president in the upcoming election and is like running the country from prison, okay, which would be the funniest outcome. All right. And then the Republican Party push for this exact same bill. The Democrats are going to be like, this is so fascist. This is so fascist. I can't believe how fascist it is. It's like, bitch, you fucking voted for it. What do you mean it's fascist? This bill literally funds the border wall. I went through all of the details of the bill and why it is devastating yesterday. Okay? It's so unimaginably stupid. Here.
Straight out to KPIX 5's Ann Makovic, who was in front of San Francisco's ICE offices. And
this is 6 years ago, okay? Here's what Democrats in the House and Senate were speaking out against Trump's immigration plan.
Yeah, and this rally is just about to begin. You can see dozens of people here on the sidewalk. This is an interfaith group, mainly Jewish people, speaking out against potential ICE raids as the Trump administration unveils a controversial new plan tying DACA protections to the border wall. The Trump administration's plan would put 1.8 million immigrants brought to America illegally by their parents on a path to citizenship. In exchange, the White House wants $30 billion in border security funding, $25 billion of that for a wall to be built between the U.S. and Mexico.
That plan is a campaign to make America white again.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi spoke about it this morning at the National Conference of Mayors.
They bring a tear to the eye of the Statue of Liberty.
Wow. Wow. I wonder what the Democrats think about that exact same bill now, dude.
And they bring fear to the hearts.
The funniest part is the bill including DACA would have been more progressive. Exactly. Then the Democrats could have at least said like, well, we're caving, but we're also like getting DACA done. They didn't even do that, though. right? Like offering additional protections to dreamers or like, offering a pathway to citizenship. The Democrats didn't even do that, though, this time around. That shit's crazy, dog. This was a pure right-wing bill. How fucking nutty is that? How crazy is that, chat? If you want to understand, if you are a real demon, okay, if you want to be like one of those fucking, I'm on Reddit and I'm LARPing as a DNC consultant for free because I'm a fucking dumb bitch and I have nothing better going on in my life and this is the only thing keeping me from fucking unaliving myself. God damn it, I'm saying unaliving. Okay? If you're that type of dumbass bitch on Twitter that's constantly fucking chirping for free 99, as though you got pay stubs from the Democratic Party, okay? The least you could have done is like add some kind of fucking DACA proposal onto it, okay? So that you could be like, but it's a good bill, see? There's concessions made for the DACA, for the dreamers. They didn't even do that. They just went full right wing. Yeah, for new applications, like we're going to do a pathway to citizenship. It was just a pure right-wing Republican bill. And what did we get out of it? Well, hypocrisy. See? Seems like the Republicans are the ones who don't want to kill migrants, you know? We're the ones who want to fucking permanently detain migrants. It seems like the Republicans don't want to do that. How dumb. How dumb of them. Do you guys see that? Hypocrites. Murphy going off on the GOP saying they're a nightmare to negotiate with. They're a disaster right now. How can you trust any Republican right now? They told us what to do. We followed their instructions to the letter and they pulled the rug from under us in 24 hours. You just openly demonstrated to every single person in the United States of America that hears this quote that you're a fucking dumbass, dog. You're so goddamn cucked. You're so fucking stupid. Look what they did to James Langford. I was discussing what they did to James. They put him out there and they asked him on their behalf to negotiate a compromise, and then they didn't even give him a chance to argue the merits. I'm sorry. I don't believe that these guys are too stupid to recognize what's going on here. Yeah, you can't go, the GOP's a fascist party, vote blue no matter who, and then go, they told us what to do. We followed their instructions to the letter. Okay? You can't do that. These two things don't align. Okay? You can't just fucking sit there and advocate for the Republican position on immigration and then go, but guys, see how hypocritical and dumb they are? No, dude, you're the hypocritical dumbass here, okay? You got fucking duped. You look like you got duped, okay? You look like you're an unserious legislator, okay? On the one hand, because like the Republicans are the ones who were just like, yeah, we're going to tank this bill. That's one. And two, you literally are now advocating for the right-wing position.
Of people are here playing by the rules.
Senator Kamala Harris tweeting last night the immigration plan is a complete non-starter, pitting 700,000 young people against immigrant families.
Why can't they message like this against immigration when they're in power, chat?
Runs counter to the values of our country. But many Republicans are supporting the plan.
We're trying to find a way to have strong border security.
The proposal also scales back the visa lottery system and limits legal immigration through close family ties. It was a hot topic at the gubernatorial debate yesterday at UCLA.
I think the president is actually suggesting some things that could help the system. He's actually proposing to have a pathway to citizenship for DACA, which Obama never even did.
The president's plan is designed to win 60 Senate votes and break a potential filibuster that could trigger another government shutdown next month. Now back out here live outside of the ICE office in San Francisco. You can see protesters here gathered on the sidewalk. This rally is going to be going on for about the next hour or so.
By the way, just a reminder for every single person here that, like, you know, this bill also had like DACA protections and shit in it as well due to the bipartisan negotiations in it. Now the Democrat bill doesn't even have that.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, watch Democrats respond to President Trump's immigration speech. Let's see.
To speak directly.
When is that video from? From Trump. Anytime you see Democrats LARPing as anytime you see the Democratic Party LARPing as like revolutionary Marxist figures, immediately know that there's probably a Republican in charge. Okay, that's it.
To the American people tonight about how we can end this shutdown and meet the needs of the American people. Sadly, much of what we heard from President Trump throughout this senseless shutdown has been full of misinformation and even malice. The president has chosen fear. We want to start with the facts. The fact is, on the very first day of this Congress, House Democrats passed Senate Republican legislation to reopen government and fund smart, effective border security solutions. But the president is rejecting these bipartisan bills, which would reopen government, over his obsession with forcing American taxpayers to waste billions of dollars on an expensive and ineffective wall.
Which was in the proposal, by the way. The Democratic Party's proposal that they're currently complaining about, that the Republicans don't want to pass, literally has a border funding built into it.
A wall he always promised Mexico would pay for. The fact is, President Trump has chosen to hold hostage critical services for the health, safety, and well-being of the American people and withhold the paychecks of 800,000 innocent workers across the nation, many of them veterans.
Like, who the fuck's asking for the wall? The wall is supposed to be symbolism anyway. It's so idiotic that they're so right-wing on the issue of immigration that they literally spent the last fucking however many years being like, the wall is a symbol for racism, which is true. It is. It's like a symbolic thing. It doesn't even do anything. It doesn't like actually prevent undocumented immigration from happening. You know what I mean? And it's just like saying that it's like purely symbolic and it's purely a symbol of racism for years and years and years, and then turning around to like fund it, turning around to do eminent domain, specifically to build this wall. I fucking hate you. I hope you get better.
He promised to keep government shut down for months or years, no matter whom it hurts. That's just plain wrong. The fact is, we all agree we need to secure our borders while honoring our values. We can build the infrastructure and roads at our ports of entry. We can install new technology to scan cars and trucks for drugs coming into our nation. We can hire the personnel we need to facilitate trade and immigration at the border. We can fund more innovation to detect unauthorized crossings. The fact is, the women and children at the border are not a security threat. They are a humanitarian challenge, a challenge that President Trump's own cruel and counterproductive policies have only deepened. And the fact is, President Trump must stop holding the American people hostage, must stop manufacturing a crisis, and must reopen the government. Thank you.
Trump isn't in power. Yes, this is when he was. I'm showing you this because their conversation in 2019 about the border issues, while still infinitely conciliatory to the Republican reactionary approach, was definitely a lot better than what they're pushing for now. They literally are saying, like, the border is bullshit. The border is bullshit. The border is bullshit. These people, there's a humanitarian crisis at the border and we must solve it through humanitarian means. Okay. Now they're like, the border is sick. We need to build the border wall ourselves. And the Republicans don't want to build it. That's why I'm showing this. That's why I'm showing you the older video. Rate Chuck's light skin stare. Oh, fuck. Anyway, I hate it. I hate that the Democrats have been like actively getting worse and worse on this issue instead of like putting forward a real proposal that goes against, like actually goes against what the right is advocating for. Because if you concede that the border is a problem and there's a crisis of national security at the border, then of course you're going to vote for the Republicans. Why wouldn't you? It's like saying, it's like looking at the situation here. It's like trans people, right? It's like the way that Republicans say trans people are a problem. Okay? The Democrats can look at that and go, no, they're not. The real problem is that we don't have adequate access to health care for trans people, and the Republicans are actively making the situation worse. Or they can look at it and go, yes, trans people are a problem, so we are the ones who are going to shut off access to health care for trans folk before they do. Oh no, the Republicans are the ones who don't want to shut off access to health care for trans people now. That's ridiculous. They do this for every issue. It's so fucking stupid.
And highly unusual
anyway,
movement.
But, you know, one here, one there, baby. One here and one there. I showed you Democratic incompetence, okay? And now I'm showing you more Republican incompetence. RNC Chair McDaniel is offering to step down for Trump.
The National Republican Party chair offering to step down for former President Trump, even though he hasn't won the nomination yet. This is very rare. Ronna McDaniel.
What do you mean he hasn't won the nomination? In Nevada last night, Nikki Haley lost to none of the above. The Nevada state, the state of Nevada, continues to be the funniest state in the fucking country, especially when it comes to its elections. They don't know how to do math over there. Their brains are cooked from the fucking desert heat. Okay? But like there are two different primaries in the state. The state decided we no longer are going to hold caucuses because this is a stupid way to fucking do elections. It's not democratic. Fine, whatever. Okay? The Republican Party's like, no, the fuck, we're not doing that. We are actually going to continue holding a caucus. You know why? Because we're the fucking party. It's the primary. The party primary is a party thing. You can't just like, the state of Nevada can't come in and like change what we want to do. So we're just going to hold a caucus anyway. And for that reason, because you apparently could not appear on both the caucus and the regular primary. So Nikki Haley opted in to being in the regular primary ballot that took place last night. I think it was last night. And Donald Trump said, no, I'm going to do the caucus anyway because obviously I want to win all the delegates. So, yes, Donald Trump is going to win the state of Nevada, even though he hasn't even run yet, technically. Now, at least I thought, or as many people thought, Nikki Haley would at least win the fucking caucus, or not the caucus, but Nikki Haley would have won the primaries at least, right? Donald Trump's not on the ticket. It's mostly like a symbolic primary, right? Turns out she couldn't even win that one. Nikki Haley lost, trounced by none of these candidates option in Nevada's Republican primary. The none of these candidates option in the Republican primaries in Nevada last night defeated Nikki Haley by like a wide ass margin, like double the amount of votes. It was a landslide victory for none of these candidates. Look at this. More than double. Incredible. Incredible stuff. This means double the amount of people in Nevada got up, got out of bed, dressed up, went to a fucking polling place specifically to vote. I don't want to vote for Nikki Haley at all. Do you understand how embarrassing that is? It has never been more Jover than it is right now. Where's that SNL boost at? They probably saw the SNL appearance and were more angry. If liberal media did a decent job of propping up a Republican candidate during the Republican primaries, then Chris Christie would currently still be in the race. Why doesn't she call it? Is it copium or something else? It's because she has incredibly wealthy donors who are keeping her in the race for one reason or the other. One could be that they're purely just horny for Nikki, like they want to fuck Nikki. One of the guys definitely wants to fuck Nikki. One of her like major backers is so goddamn horny for her that he like made a song for her. The other reason is because you know, they maybe think that like Trump will go to jail or something, and maybe, you know, just stay in the race for as long as you can, because like maybe the Republicans will have a change of heart when they realize that Trump definitely is going to jail or some shit, and it's so dumb. Where is does anyone know what I'm talking about? Billionaire Nikki Haley donor makes song. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I think it was on the New York Times Daily. Okay. Majority Report video on the song. Hold on. I want the actual song, not the Majority Report video on it. Thank you.
Never underestimate. Never underestimate me, Nikki. I mean Nikki. We need Nikki right now. We need you, Nikki, right now. To lead our nation. We need you, Nikki, right now. Lead the conversation. We need you, Nikki, right now. 'Cause families are hurting. We need you, Nikki. We need more freedom, more jobs for certain. We need you, Nikki, to stay united, to bring together a land divided. We need you, Nikki, to heal the sorrow and help our kids have a better tomorrow. We need you, Nikki, right now. To lead our nation. We need you, Nikki, no doubt. Lead the conversation. We need you, Nikki, right now. 'Cause families are hurting. We need you, Nikki. We need more freedom, more jobs for certain. Underestimate me. That should
Bro, this shit is 4 minutes and you haven't even gotten to the best part. Please. There's more.
be fun. She said when they asked her about her run, but we all know that she is the one to be our leader when the road is done. Oh, we need you, Nikki, right now. To lead our nation. We need you, Nikki, no doubt. Lead the conversation. We need you, Nikki, right now. 'Cause families are hurting. We need you, Nikki. We need more freedom, more jobs for certain.
Just wait. It's gonna get worse.
Now there's a lot of noise in politics, 'cause people hitting each other with their great big sticks. But Nikki Haley stands above the rest, 'cause she's been fully put to the test. Now with Trump, the bully, who's afraid to fight against 5-inch heels with twice his might. And Biden, who's dying to drain our reserves. When the voters come out, he'll get what he deserves. We need you, Nikki.
God damn, dude. You see that?
Bully, who's afraid to fight against 5-inch heels with twice his might.
Come on, dog. There's, by the way, you think this is like a international criminal court of justice type war crime that needs to be prosecuted? This is literally like Israeli occupying forces blasting this to like cause Palestinians' brains to explode, right? But what you fail to consider is that there is another 2 minutes of this song still.
Biden who's dying to drain our reserves when the voters come out.
Biden is dying to drain our reserves. Okay. Oh, so fucking good, dude.
He'll get what he deserves.
I gotta pee.
We need you, Nikki, right now to lead our nation. We need you, Nikki, no doubt. Lead the conversation. We need you, Nikki, right now. 'Cause families are hurting. We need you, Nikki. We need more freedom, more jobs for certain. We need you, Nikki, to stop big pharma, to stop big banking, reverse the karma. We need you, Nikki, to balance the plates, to push big decisions back to the states. Oh, we need you, Nikki, right now to lead our nation. We need you, Nikki, no doubt. Lead the conversation. We need you, Nikki, right now. 'Cause families are hurting. We need you, Nikki. We need more freedom, more jobs for certain. Nikki, Nikki, we need Nikki right now. We need Nikki, Nikki, we need Nikki. There's no doubt. We need Nikki, Nikki, we need Nikki right now.
That's it. I prefer someone catching me masturbating than hearing this. This is cringe levels are insane. No, this is one of those moments where, like, if your parents walk in and they're like, "What are you doing?" You have to immediately swap over to the gnarliest hentai you have ever watched in your entire life and be like, "I am dropping a sweet hot load, okay, to the worst tentacle porn you've ever seen. Please, please do not accuse me of listening to the Nikki Haley song." Okay? No matter what. No, I was not listening to the Nikki Haley rap song. Excuse me. Excuse me. I was jerking off to tentacle porn, please. Anyway, we're not going to do Tim Kaine in a membrane right now. We're not going to do that. God, this has been quite the musical day today, huh? Let's do an ear cleanse real quick for you guys, because this is an actual banger, unlike the other thing. That one, this is like actually a banger in comparison to the Nikki Haley thing. Anyway, we're doing one and one. One shitty thing that the Democrats are doing, one Democratic incompetence, one Republican incompetence. Let's get back to the Republicans. Probably not a good idea to have your fucking chair, your RNC chair, drop out in the midst of in the heated election cycle coming up. So
McDaniel was elected to her post with Trump's full support after serving as GOP chairwoman in Michigan. Recently, though, Trump's view of McDaniel has soured due to the RNC's poor finances, his feelings that the RNC could have supported him more in 2020. And now Trump says he'll make recommendations for her replacement after the South Carolina primary. CNN's Elena Treen joins us now. Not only is it striking because Trump's tune on her has changed so much, but she's held this position for so long, and it's rare to ever see something like this, is it not?
Oh, it's very rare, and it's a stunning development. But look, I mean, Ronna McDaniel was facing pressure on a lot of fronts, and that's part of what led to this decision. But there's no doubt that Donald Trump was the driving force behind her offering to leave the RNC after South Carolina. And there's a couple reasons for that. I mean, Donald Trump and Ronna McDaniel, the relationship between the two has really deteriorated in recent years, and even more so over the past week. As you mentioned, Poppy, Donald Trump still harbors a lot of resentment toward the RNC for what he believes is them not doing enough to challenge the 2020 election results. And that's something I hear time and time again in my conversations with Trump's advisors. They also grew increasingly frustrated with her and how the RNC handled the Republican primary debates. Obviously, Donald Trump did not participate in those. And Trump himself has privately griped about why can't the RNC not remain neutral? Why can't they come out and endorse me? That's something he had said in the past over the past year now. But look, this all really hit a tipping point last week, I'm told, and that's partly because the RNC reported just having $8 million in the bank last year. That's the lowest fundraising haul they've had in more than a decade, and that's really when Donald.
That's why this shit's important. By the way, it's fundraising.
Trump and his advisors started to make plans to send a clear message that something needed.
What does a party chair do exactly? Do they have any formal power over the party? Is it an accounting position or more about getting what donors want? Yeah, no, it's a fundraiser. It's one of the more important positions in the party, specifically because your entire job, your entire purpose is to fundraise and like allocation, distribute resources. Republican Party said, you're moneyless and you're bitchless, dude. Broke. You're fucking broke. You're broke, boy.
To change at the RNC, and that's why you're seeing Ronna make this decision, and it all kind of culminated after a meeting on Monday where they met at Mar-a-Lago for more than 2 hours between her and Donald Trump.
Elena, while we have you, there was a primary last night in the Republican Party.
In case you missed it.
And it's very confusing and convoluted, and Donald Trump's not on the ballot, and this was all kind of jerry-rigged to some degree to ease his pathway here. But Nikki Haley lost to the well-known candidate of none of these candidates.
Like, you can't even, dude, you got liberal media that was like propping up Nikki Haley. Even liberal media is like making fun of her and saying she got trounced. You know what I mean? It's so Jover. It's never been more Jover. It's done. It's super done. Okay.
Reached out to their campaign manager for comment. I guess the question is, they weren't playing here. They knew this was a done deal. They're focused on South Carolina. But how bad is that headline right now for the only Trump challenger left?
It is bad. I mean, there's no doubt that this is embarrassing for her, especially because, look, Haley's trying to make the point that she's still a viable candidate in this primary, especially as they head into South Carolina, where her chances there are not looking that great, even though it's her home state. And even though this was a state where Haley really spent no time, she didn't spend a dime in Nevada, and that's partly because her campaign has argued that it's rigged for Donald Trump, it's still an embarrassing defeat. Now, I do want to just quickly read you a statement from her campaign. Her campaign spokesman told CNN, quote, "Even Donald Trump knows that when you play plenty sauce, the House wins. We didn't bother to play a game rigged for Trump. We're full steam ahead in South Carolina and beyond." And again, even though there was no effort behind this, I mean, they chose to play in the primary, not the caucus, which is really, for all intents and purposes, far more important for the Republican candidates because that's where the delegates are decided. It's still an embarrassing defeat, and it is not a good sign for her as, you know, she heads into South Carolina in a couple weeks.
Couple weeks left. All right, Elaine Treen, thank you. I want to bring.
Wait, it's not a good sign for her that she. It's not a good sign for when a candidate gets half the votes of none of the above. When their like major primary opponent isn't even on the ballot. Damn, that's crazy. She said it was rigged. That's also crazy.
Is that situation Nevada hurt a little bit?
No, I mean, Nevada, it's such a scam. They were supposed to have a primary. Trump rigged it so that the GOP chairman, who's been indicted, would go and create a caucus. We knew months ago that we weren't going to spend a day or a dollar in Nevada because it wasn't worth it. And so we didn't even count Nevada. That wasn't anything we were looking at. We knew that was rigged from the start. Our focus is on South Carolina, Michigan, Super Tuesday.
It's so funny that she's saying that because like South Carolina is her state and she's losing by like 40 points to Donald Trump in her own goddamn state, which is also hilarious because every part of the state legislature, which she worked directly with, in close contact with, has also endorsed Donald Trump. So she literally had to concede with that reality by trying to claim that it's because she's really a ball buster. She's really tough. She fought really hard for the South Carolinians when she was the governor. And that's why the South Carolina Republican legislature doesn't endorse her and endorse Donald Trump instead. She's actually closing the gap. She's starting to come back. I can't tell if you're memeing or being serious. Okay. Yeah, it's no longer a 62% to 29% gap. Okay. It's now a 61% to 31% gap. That's not a gap, that's a canyon. Yeah, I don't know what this is at this point, okay? It's like, no, honey, you don't understand. This big ass gap is great. The little gaps, the tight margins, they scare me. I hate it when it's super tight. I hate it when it's a barn burner. No, trust me. Trust me. I love a big gap, okay? Makes it so much better. The comeback. I hate it when it's super tight. It's the boyfriend gap. Yeah. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready for the New World Order? Nikki Haley.
So if you look what we did in Iowa and you look what we did in New Hampshire, we're continuing to grow. That's what matters, I think, more than anything else. But look at what happened this week. Here you have Republicans lost a major vote on the border. Republicans lost a major vote on Israel. Donald Trump was found that he will not have immunity in all of these court cases coming up. The RNC chair is fired. All of this chaos is happening around us, and Donald Trump's fingerprints are on every bit of it. We can't continue as the Republican Party to go forward with this chaos. You don't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos, and that's why we've got to see a change.
She didn't even mention Drake's dick. True.
There was,
as we talked about yesterday, the appeals court has rejected Trump's immunity claim in the election interference case, so that's pretty cool. Brief update on that, and then we'll get to Israel Prime Minister rejecting Hamas's proposed offer for the Gaza ceasefire.
a major setback for former President Donald Trump in his federal election interference case. A panel of appeals court judges firmly rejected his arguments for immunity yesterday, declaring, quote, former President Trump has become citizen Trump. Jan Crawford is at the federal courthouse in Washington. Jan, what does all of this mean?
Cooked.
Well, good morning. I mean, it means that Trump is all but certain to go to the Supreme Court and ask them to intervene. He's got till Monday to do that. And whether or not the justices take up this case, that could determine when Trump goes to trial.
From the courthouse to the campaign trail, former President Donald Trump has insisted he should be immune from criminal prosecution.
You have to have a guaranteed immunity for a president. Otherwise, a president's not going to be able to function.
But on Tuesday, a D.C.-based federal appeals court rejected Trump's sweeping claims, unanimously ruling that the former president must face trial for efforts to subvert the 2020 election, saying any executive immunity that may have protected him while he served as president no longer protects against him in this prosecution. Last month, the former president sat in a packed courtroom as the three-judge panel, made up of two Democratic...
I have double reviewership right now, Miskip. Bro, listen to me. Don't make me build a fucking OTK-style operation out here with even more content creators. Do you understand? I will do it. I'll fucking do it. I'll go and buy a fucking gym out here, okay? I'll go and work with Bradley Martin. Yeah, don't. Also, he doesn't know how to do math, but it's okay.
Appointees and one Republican challenged his attorney's immunity arguments and posed a dramatic hypothetical.
I'm signing Mitch Jones. Fuck it. I'm signing Mitch Jones. I'm starting my own. I'm starting my own team.
SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached. Would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
if he were impeached and convicted first.
Since the Senate declined to convict Trump, that argument would mean special counsel Jack Smith couldn't either, and the appeals court flatly rejected it. But as for when Trump's trial could start, it may depend on the nation's highest court.
If the Supreme Court takes the case, this trial is going to be delayed substantially.
He dipped when he saw our viewers go up. That's so funny. That is fucking hilarious. Thank you. Thank you for the misgive boost.
However, if the Supreme Court does not take the case, then that means that this trial, in all likelihood, will move ahead fairly quickly.
Now, tomorrow, we are going to be up at the Supreme Court for historic arguments in another case involving Trump. The justices are going to decide whether Trump can even be a candidate for president or whether states can kick him off the ballot for committing so-called insurrection after the 2020 election. Tony?
Here's a Salon article. The senior news editor wrote, "There's nothing left. Experts say ruling dismantled. Trump argument so bad, SCOTUS won't touch it. Every single argument was methodically and systematically picked apart by the court, experts say." It's Jover, dude. It's Jover. My man's going into trial, okay? Which is great. All right.
Hello.
Let's talk about the Israeli Prime Minister rejecting Hamas's proposal for a Gaza ceasefire. Wait, there's a tax season villain. It's not the IRS. New York Times opinion. This is the worst downgrade of POTUS got since that one guy who died like 5 minutes in the office. Yeah. We Need You, Nikki by Hank Pecker. Wait, that's way too quick. We need you, Nikki, right now to lead our nation. We need you, Nikki, no doubt, with a conversation. That is way too fast, man. How in the ever-loving hell did you... That's crazy that you whipped this up so quick. That's nasty. That's nasty. That's scary. That's insane. Okay, we're not going to do that right now. Let's get to the news.
I'm Marianne Mashiri. A very warm welcome to the Daily Global on BBC News. Let's start in the Middle East, where in the last hour, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin...
Chatter literally works at OpenAI and watches you on the clock. Dude, Chatter fucking spun that so fast, I forgot the top of the hour ad break comes at the top of every hour. Now, of course, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Do you have a take on Drake's cock? I do. Actually, that's so funny because my friends just sent me something that's an update on the Drake penis situation. I do. I have an update. My Bourbon Gamer, thank you for the 5, get the subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Folks, I have an update on the Drake penis situation. Here's a cock update. First and foremost, I just want to say something. I think like I fucked up. We shouldn't be doing too much of a meat watch here, because like I feel like it's there's a fine line between like fetishizing black men. And I feel like it's we're teetering on the edge here, and I don't really I feel uncomfortable. Having said that, though, the one update I will say is that that mixtape dropped. That mixtape dropped, and TMZ is reporting that Bobby Altoff has been filed divorce papers by her husband. Yeah, the whole black man equals BBC. Yeah, no, I have a very different approach to this. I thought that he did not. My interest in the matter was that I thought he has small penis energy. But yes, the update to the situation is Bobby Altoff, who became prominent and famous for her interview with Drake, as Drake rizzes her up, is now filing for divorce. Now, the reason why there was a weird moment there is because there was some speculation that Drake was engaging in some home wrecking. Stop. She said that pic sent me to the upside down. Wait, what? Dude, I'm telling you, according to fresh off the presses, read all about it. Extra. Okay. Turns out Bobby Altoff, famous for that bedroom interview with Drake, who was speculated to have maybe hooked up with Drake and then had a falling out with Drake, is now on the receiving end of divorce papers. That's right. TMZ reports. Bobby Altoff, podcaster's hubby, files for a divorce. Bobby Altoff is apparently about to become single because her husband just pulled the plug on their marriage, TMZ has learned. According to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, Corey Altoff is filing for divorce to his wife of 4 years, citing irreconcilable differences. He has their date of separation listed at the 4th of July, 2023. Corey's asking for joint physical and legal custody of their 2 daughters, 1-year-old Isla and 3-year-old Luca. He also checked the box to block the court's ability to award spousal support to either party. Bobby kickstarted a career on TikTok with a dry deadpan style humor, going on to develop a really good podcast where her awkwardly interviewing interviews with the likes of Drake, Mark Cuban, and more have gone viral. For his part, Corey's a major player in the tech world, serving as a senior vice president of software development programs at CompTIA. Bobby said in the 2023 Cosmopolitan interview that she preferred to keep her marriage to Corey private, although she has featured him on social media before. Anyway, CompTIA is a fucking scam. What was the thing though? There was a. Can you show a clip of the Drake interview? I missed it. How did this person get so famous? I don't know. Because, like, I don't know how she popped off so hard, but she was all over TikTok. People loved her on TikTok when she was, like, interviewing black people and being visibly uncomfortable around black people. The Zoomers loved it. They loved it so much that, like, people said that she was an industry plant. She is an industry plant. I think even she said so. Yeah, her husband, I think she just like lived in proximity to like rich people and famous celebrities because of her husband. And I think that is the reason why she was able to get like super huge celebrities and stuff originally. That kind of put her in orbit, if that makes sense. But she's like a mom talk originally. She's like a mom talker for having like one titty that's bigger than the other. Kiki
It's
Palmer
always the
talked to
industry
her
plant
about
gag.
it.
I know.
You're
not
not
an
an
industry
industry
plant, right?
I am, but
So wait, what is an industry plant to you?
I mean, I don't truly like know.
Well, you do feel kind of planty. You got here in 5 minutes. It took me 20 years.
Hey, it has been a minute. 20 years. You started so young.
Yes, girl. I've been working hard.
Yeah, I think you're the real industry plant here.
I mean, this is the only time I've seen Bobby Altoff be normal around a black person, by the way. Because normally she only has like normal voice reserved for like interviews that she does with like white people, usually. This is literally the first time I've seen her around a black person doing normal voice and not the character that she normally does. Which, by the way, I get it. Like, it's a bit. It's a character. Okay? My theory is that Drake discovered her on Mommy Talk. Anyway. Industry plant shit is just another form of nepotism. I know I'm telling a nepo baby. Not true, Hasan. You're misremembering stuff. What do you mean? What am I misremembering? No, she did. She originally popped off on Mom Talk. She literally had a boob that was larger than the other, which is normal, right? One of her boobs is larger than the other one because of breastfeeding. And then Drake, I think Drake DM'd her. And then she was launching this podcast already. She had done one with another person. I forget who she had interviewed before. And then the Drake interview blew up because it's fucking Drake. Of course it blew up. And then like her and Drake had a falling out because, she was at the Drake show and she was like doing her bit where she's like, oh, I'm so bored. And Drake and her had a falling out. And people basically turned around and speculated that like Drake hit it and that she was married. And that's the reason why they had a falling out. And now we find out that like around that same time, they actually also got divorced. But I don't think she is an industry plant. We stopped Gaza news for this. Yes, we did. Okay. We did that. Sukihana doesn't know what a musician is. You didn't know who this chick was 2 months ago? Wait, what? I didn't. But then I learned everything because I'm a commentator who commentates on culture sometimes. Okay? I comment on culture. Also, speaking of Drake was literally one of the earlier celebrities that openly called for a ceasefire. So, I'm just saying. Maybe it's because, he speaks softly and carries a big stick. Maybe it's because he's got his own weapons of mass destruction that he can fly around. But he did do that. He did do that early on. So that's something to remember.
Netanyahu has said Israel will not be satisfied with anything other than total victory over Hamas. He also said Israeli troops have been ordered to prepare to operate in Rafah in southern Gaza. Let's listen to some of what he had to say.
Tonight, I am here to tell you one thing. We are on our way to a complete victory. The victory is at our reach. It's not about years or decades. It's about months. The IDF is doing wonderful work. It's working systematically in order to achieve all of the goals of the war that we...
This is such funny copium. Yeah, dude, no, definitely. The IDF is doing wonderful work. We love starving children and just like directly killing them with missiles. They're doing such a good job.
The political ranks have given it, which is relinquishing Hamas, releasing the hostages, and making sure Gaza is not threatening Israel anymore. To begin with, I said that the final victory is our goal. This was the decision I brought to the government at the beginning of the war, and we will not be satisfied with less.
On the next half an hour, we're expecting to hear from US Secretary of State Antony Blinken following his talks with Israeli and Palestinian officials. Now, those talks come after what many people see as a positive reaction from Hamas to a proposed ceasefire deal, which was put together last week. But Mr. Blinken has now met both the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and President Isaac Herzog, and has described a ceasefire deal as both possible and essential. Well, some reports suggest the plan provides for a truce of at least 40 days in return for the release of civilian hostages held by Hamas. For now, though, the war, which broke out in October, continues. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza said at least 100 people were killed overnight, and there has been further heavy bombing of southern cities, including in Rafah. Meanwhile, Israel says 31 of the hostages held by Hamas and other groups in Gaza are now known to have died. Well, let's hear now from Mr. Blinken about the ongoing hostage situation.
The hostages are foremost on our minds and in our hearts. As you know, We now have a response from Hamas to the proposal that was put on the table.
Israel's first proposal literally was like, okay, guys, we have a really good idea. You release all the hostages, and then every single person within Hamas comes out and kills themselves publicly in the public square, and then maybe we'll stop killing all your children. Okay? Like, and then that's basically what they went to the table with. This was like a month ago at this point. And remember when everybody was like, Hamas doesn't want a ceasefire. Fucking got him. Yeah, it seems like someone needs to tell you that Hamas is the people that don't want the ceasefire. Like every single fucking dude with that very specific accent, that Israeli SNL accent, I call it. It seems to me like Hamas is the real people that don't want a ceasefire. Have you told the people in America? All of the people in the West want totally Hamas to come and rape their daughters too, which is what they do. And then if you looked at if you actually looked at the goddamn deal, it literally was like, okay, we will release, if you release hostages, and then what you do is you bring Hamas outside and you kill yourself as Hamas in the public square, and then maybe we kill only half the babies, half the terror babies. So they said no to that, understandably. And now the ceasefire deal is like actually formulated and is a little bit more normal.
For the way forward, we're looking at it intensely.
Well, Gershon Baskin was an Israeli negotiator for 17 years. He gave his assessment on the ceasefire negotiations.
The Hamas response does enable some room to maneuver if Hamas would be willing to separate the first phase from the second and the third. In other words, if Hamas wants a ceasefire now for 45 days, which is something that I think the Israeli army would like as well, this could be done and we could see the release of civilian hostages from Gaza, those who are remaining alive.
Well, with me now is BBC's chief international correspondent, Lise Doucette. And Lise, a difficult job for Mr. Blinken.
This puts him in a very, very tough position. All we've had is these very public remarks by Prime Minister Netanyahu, a ferocious rebuke to these really incessant efforts by the United States and its Arab partners to come up with a plan. And it's hard to square Prime Minister Netanyahu's description of the Hamas counteroffer as delusional with the remarks we heard yesterday from the Qatari Prime Minister, a key mediator in these talks. He described it as positive. Antony Blinken, in his first remarks, we'll wait to hear from him shortly, he had said that it was the best way forward, a lot of work still to be done, but trying to give a sense that there was still something to work for. But listening to Prime Minister Netanyahu, you had a feeling that this was dead in the water. Now, he may be saying that for public effect. It is known, sources say that sometimes in private negotiations, he adopts a different tone and a greater readiness to consider proposals. But the Israelis seem to see this as an effort by Hamas to end the war on its own.
Everyone is so dumb on this issue where they're literally like, they're just refusing to recognize that there is one party that is basically doing Nazi politics here, and it is not motherfucking Hamas, okay? I know that everybody loved talking about how like Hamas is ISIS, Hamas are Nazis or whatever. But no, like Benjamin Netanyahu comes out every fucking day and is like, I want to murder every Palestinian child. I'm so horny for murder. There is nothing that keeps me going more than murdering Palestinian children. Like every day, no two-state solution. How about no one-state solution? How about no state solution? How about a final solution? Literally every day he says this, okay? And then there's like TikTok videos of soldiers on the ground who are like, I am an Israeli soldier and I heard my fucking commander-in-chief, Benjamin Netanyahu, say final solution to all the Palestinians, and I agree with it. I am genocidal. I'm doing acts of genocide every day. But then when you look at Western media and their approach to the coverage, they're like, well, people say that, like, although he's saying incredibly genocidal things in public all the time, every single day, behind closed doors, Benjamin Netanyahu is quite reserved. Okay? seems like he's quite reserved behind closed doors and like willing to concede. It's like, no, he's not. Why is nobody being honest about it? Okay? Nobody is being honest about it. It's so fucking weird. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want a ceasefire. He wants to keep doing the baby murder machine. He wants to crank it up.
Own terms, which is utterly unacceptable. But it's interesting what Gershon Baskin said, which goes to the heart of the matter now. Is it possible to salvage something from this proposal? The Hamas counteroffer is a three-phased one over about 135 days. And the first phase, which would include a temporary pause of about 45 days, would release the most vulnerable of the hostages: women, children, the elderly, the ones of which there is greatest concern about. There's concern about all of them, but those first, in exchange for some prisoners and some desperately needed humanitarian aid. But we'll see just what kind of a tone Antony Blinken adopts. It's very, because this is all there is right now.
And it's all about tone, isn't it, really? Because if you heard the tone of Mr. Netanyahu, you could feel there that there was no conciliatory element in his tone at all.
But there never is. His mantra has not shifted an inch. Total victory, absolute victory. And tonight he said it was within touching distance. It was a matter of months. Now, as you know, and you've reported on your program, there had been assessments by his own military team that actually they weren't that close, that Hamas was actually even in the north of the Gaza Strip, which has been razed to the ground, where Israeli forces in large part moved away from to concentrate on the south. Hamas was re-establishing civilian control. Hamas is still able to fire rockets at Israel. And of course, alarm bells are ringing right up to the UN Secretary General. Antonio Guterres said, if you carry out what you say is your plan, then to go for Rafah at the southernmost corner, where half of the population has been pushed, this would be the disaster of disasters.
In the meantime, people are still dying in Gaza. We saw the Hamas-run health minister saying over 100 were killed just in the last, I think, day or so. Over 27,000 Palestinians. And, of course, there are still Israeli hostages being held there.
I mean, Marion, we just reported that 100 died. You know, before all this, if one person died, it would have been a story. Now, given the enormity of this staggering death toll, the United Nations says that if you try to tally up the dead, the missing, and the injured, it's actually 100,000 people, with some 17,000 children having lost one or both parents. That's 5% of Gaza's population. And Prime Minister Netanyahu and the public opinion in Israel backs him. They want him to hit Hamas hard as well, are saying they want this war to continue. But tonight, of course, we've heard of the anguish of the families of the hostages. They, of course, there's been that blow that 31 families were told their loved ones are dead. That's a fifth of the hostages in Gaza. So tonight, they are urging the Prime Minister and others again to put the lives of the hostages first before the military plan.
In addition to all of us wanting some sort of resolution there, the President of the United States wants it over with because he's so underwater on the numbers regarding Gaza and Israel. I think we yesterday cited a poll where only 3 in 10 Americans think that what he's doing is a good idea. Here's the president yesterday, and it's hard for him to get through this soundbite. He does sound confused. And at one point, he confuses Hamas with, like, the loyal opposition. Hamas is not a party. It's a bunch of bloodthirsty killers. Anyway, here's the president yesterday responding to a question about this hostage deal.
There is some movement, and I don't want to, well, maybe choose my words. There's some movement. There's been a response from there's been a response from the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas, but it seems to be a little over the top. We're not sure where it is. There's a continuing negotiation right now.
It's pretty unbelievable that the press has to help him out on this.
Dude. Dude. I love when people come in and they're like, come on, guys. Like, Biden is just a little old. He's not that bad. This doesn't read that badly on camera. That's my favorite thing that liberals try to do nowadays. He's old as fuck, but this is like the one case where he really should take his time and choose his words carefully. I mean, I don't even care that he called Hamas the opposition. That part is not that bad. I'm purely on the aesthetics of the matter. Okay? Because optics matter. Optics fucking matter. You have nothing else. The entire reason to vote for Biden was the optics of stability over the optics of chaos that Trump brought. This is what I've been saying about Israel. With respect to Biden's dealings with Israel, this is what I've said. If Biden stood strong behind Israel, like firmly supported Israel, I think his numbers would not look so bad. And the proof there is the fact that there are more Americans. There's a higher percentage of Americans that believe Trump would do a better job with Israel. I think Biden's genuine issue with Israel is that he's trying to do the both sides, talking out of both sides of his mouth. And because he's no longer the fucking old school campaigner, retail politician, charismatic person that he used to be, he can't deal with it. So it translates as weakness and it translates as senility. Okay? If Biden came out and was like, Israel should nuke Gaza, Jack, I think he would have more support than what he has currently. If he took a strong stance against Israel, he would probably also still have more support than he has currently, because currently he doesn't have any support on the matter at all. Because he is trying to make it seem like he wants to rein in Israel, but everything he's doing is actually saying, go ahead, Israel. He's giving the green light to Israel to do genocide, while simultaneously making it seem like on the optics front that he's quietly talking behind closed doors to bring this conflict to a fucking end. And that looks awful. Why? Because nobody believes that. Anyone that looks at that situation and even believes that Biden is actually behind closed doors, like promoting something entirely different, still hears Benjamin Netanyahu, who literally right after Joseph Robinette Biden every day goes on television and says, Joseph Robinette Biden is wrong. I actually do want to do genocide. I do not believe in a two-state solution. Every fucking day. That makes him look like a bitch. That makes Biden look like a bitch. That's crazy. It makes him look weak, and Biden's worst issue right now is the optics of the matter, is the fact that he looks senile, the fact that he comes across as old, the fact that he looks like he's fallen asleep at the wheel.
Issue is kind of an important factor to actually get Hamas right.
They're terrorists. They're not the opposition.
You got that latest NBC poll. 76% of Americans are concerned about his age. That includes Democrats and independents. And this just furthers the narrative. A lot of people are saying we feel sad about this. I think a lot of people within the Jewish community are furious about this. He can't be on the ticket. I just don't see how it happens.
I mean, that's the Democratic option right there.
Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, evidently he says he's a effing fill in the blank.
The president.
Biden on Netanyahu. So they have horrible relations. Yet his backing of Israel has lost a lot of the Arab community. He's unable to tell his side of the story. If you see some of the protests in New York, it's not so. It's as much as they're saying ceasefire, they're pro-Hamas.
Yeah.
So there's a huge portion of this country that's pro-Hamas. That's a huge problem. And not only so, he takes this stance. He is not all in because he's against the sitting government that he's backing. The munitions, they're in desperate need of munitions right now, according to many reports. Can't seem to marshal that. And at the same time, he can't even reiterate, he can't even defend his stance for Israel.
Well, and our reporters should be able to go into the White House press briefing room and talk about what's happening around the country, what our solutions are. But instead, reporters like Peter Doocy, our White House correspondent, has to go in and ask Karine Jean-Pierre about this president's mental health. Not only did yesterday you just saw that soundbite of him stumbling, the long pauses.
Right.
The day before, he got mixed up, called President Macron President Mitterrand, who died in 1996. This is every day now a stumble.
You just asked? One of the beautiful souls in the chat asked the funniest question. Is Fox pro-Israel? I don't know what we can call what Fox News does to be pro-Israel, because I feel like it goes so far beyond just being simply pro-Israel. Okay? Like, Fox would literally take Palestinian children hostage if they could. Okay? They are so unimaginably pro-Israel. What do you think? They love genocide across the board. Like, in the United States of America, in the voter eligible population, you're either pro-Israel or you're so incredibly pro-Israel that you want to hate crime every Arab you've seen. Okay? That's it. That's like, it only goes super pro-Israel or, oh my God, you are literally a fascist. That's how pro-Israel you are. Fox is the second type of pro-Israel. They have a massive audience of pro-Israel Christian Zionists. And as a matter of fact, it seems, according to New York Times reporting on the matter at least, that post-October 7, a lot of American Jews who normally are more progressive on domestic issues, except for Israel, and not very reactionary when it comes to Israel, but very progressive when it comes to domestic issues, have switched over to watch Fox News' coverage because CNN and MSNBC were not sufficiently pro-Israel enough.
A blunder, can't put words together, and that's what Peter asked her about. Listen.
Liberals have the same takes on Israel as Fox, but with a furrowed brow. Not even. They just have the identical issue.
How is President Biden ever going to convince the 3/4 of voters who are worried about his physical and mental health that he is okay, even though in Las Vegas he told a story about recently talking to a French president who died in 1996?
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you, sir.
What is
We're
the
going to
rabbit hole?
Go ahead.
See, what she could have done right there, she could have simply said what you said, Ainsley. The president said Mitterrand, he met Macron. She could have explained it that simply. She would have just said he got confused. The problem is,
She never said he got confused.
Well, that's why, Brian, because the Republicans are saying, look, the president is confused. Then if it is reiterated by her own press secretary, look, he said Mitterrand meant Macron, it would have validated everything the Republicans are saying about the president, who is, he's struggling. We all struggle from time to time. Unfortunately, he's the most powerful man in the world, and he's got to be at the top of his game every day.
Yeah, we can't have a weak president when we have all these international conflicts going on, and that doesn't even include the domestic issues. I think the press secretary has made it very, very clear, as well as everybody else in the administration, that they want to avoid the answer. But you have 76% of Americans.
Damn, dog. Fox News has the fucking senile Biden compilation down to the down to the wire. Look at this shit. This is a wild compy that they have. They went sicko mode on this.
Americans that feel the same way. We can't all be crazy here.
Well, unless
Jen Psaki used to set almost policy for and almost give the president cues on what to do because she was so conversant in the policies. KJP can't even cover for the president, and she doesn't even seem to prepare for her own press conferences.
Well, she could have made it easier. But then again, the alternative is maybe he actually does talk to dead people. Just saying. I saw a movie like that once. Anyway, that's what the president said yesterday. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Yeah. He's they're cooking his ass.
I recently
All right, let's watch. There's a tax season villain. It's not the IRS. Welcome to Johnny Harris into our homes from the New York Times opinion.
learned how big of a scam taxes in America are. Not the actual tax rate, but how we actually pay our taxes. All of this. In countries like the Netherlands.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. Johnny Harris is such a funny content creator because like he will look at a situation that is like just super normal, something that a lot of people know about. You know what I mean? And we'll print out like physical copies of it or whatever the thing is and go, recently I did a deep dive on this and I found out that like the situation is crazy, guys. Okay.